A senator stands before Congress in colonel's uniform. Edward Baker's voice thunders through the chamber, declaring war. His colleagues applaud uncertainly. Within weeks, his body will float in the Potomac. Today, he believes himself invincible. History will prove otherwise. I am Colonel Baker. Lincoln named his son for me. We practiced law together in Illinois, debated under prairie skies. Now I command California volunteers. War beckons. Glory waits across the Potomac. I cannot see death waiting there too. The river flows black this October morning. Fog crawls across water like ghost fingers. Union soldiers huddle on Maryland's shore, counting boats. 4 small boats for 1,600 men. Mathematics of disaster. Nobody calculates it yet. Everybody will soon enough. General McClellan demands intelligence from Virginia. Captain Chase Philbrick volunteers for reconnaissance. 20 men. Midnight crossing. He peers through darkness at distant tree line. His inexperienced eyes see Confederate tents where only shadows dance. Fatal mistake, honest error, dead soldiers either way. Support our channel, subscribe so you won't miss exciting new videos. Your likes and comments inspire us to create more quality content. Together, we'll make this channel a place of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you for your support. Philbrick returns confident. Confederate camp unguarded across the river. General Charles Stone hears opportunity. 300 men under Colonel Devens will raid it. Easy victory. Capture supplies, return as heroes. Stone signs orders. He does not know he signs death warrants instead. Dawn illuminates truth. Devens climbs Ball's Bluff. His men advance toward the camp. Trees appear. Just trees, no tents, no sleeping Confederates. Philbrick's phantom army vanishes with morning mist. But real Confederates heard the commotion. Real bullets come next. Confederate Captain Duff leads Mississippi riflemen through woods. He hears Yankee voices, sees blue uniforms trespassing on Virginia soil. Duff smiles like a wolf. They walked into his territory uninvited. He will teach them hospitality Southern style. Rifles bark, blood seasons autumn leaves. I am Baker, messages reach me. Fighting erupted. Devens needs reinforcement. I do not hesitate. Mexico taught me courage. Illinois taught me speeches. Neither taught me tactical wisdom. I order my brigade forward. 1,600 men, 4 boats. Glory awaits. Think about those boats. Weathered wood, leaking seams, 30 men packed shoulder to shoulder per trip. Back and forth across the Potomac. Hours consumed. Confederate reinforcements marching closer every minute. Baker watches boats shuttle endlessly. He never questions the mathematics of doom. I cross the river at 2:30. 6 hours wasted ferrying troops. Colonel Devens reports Confederates multiplying in forest. Should I retreat? Retreat admits failure. Senators do not fail. Lincoln's friend cannot fail. I order attack. Forward into the trees. Forward into history's judgment. Ball's Bluff rises 70 feet above the Potomac. Steep slopes, dense forest. One narrow path descending to the water. Perfect defensive position for Confederates. Perfect trap for Union soldiers. Geography writes the battle's conclusion before fighting begins. Men just execute geography's verdict. Colonel Nathan Evans commands Confederates near Leesburg. He hears gunfire, recognizes opportunity. Yankees crossing river with limited boats. He summons every available regiment. Mississippians, Virginians. 8 companies converge. Evans arrives at Ball's Bluff grinning. Today he becomes famous. Today, Yankees become casualties. 3 o'clock. Battle intensifies. Mississippi rifles pour lead into Union ranks. Trees explode with gunfire. Smoke chokes the bluff. I ride between regiments shouting encouragement. Soldiers see their colonel brave under fire. They cannot see my mounting dread. We are trapped here. Lieutenant Isaac Wistar approaches me. Sir, we should withdraw. His voice trembles. I understand his fear. I share it secretly, but I answer. Officers who die with their men will never be harshly judged. Prophecy or prayer? He stares at me, withdraws silently. 4:30. Confederate volleys create crossfire. Union soldiers crouch behind trees, rocks, corpses. They fire blindly through smoke, pray blindly for salvation. Neither bullets nor prayers alter mathematics. Too many rebels, too few boats, too late for anything except dying bravely. I stand near a massive oak tree, directing artillery placement, adjusting regiment positions, remaining visible to inspire men. Mississippi sharpshooters watch me through rifle sights. They recognize leadership. They recognize targets. 7 rifles aim simultaneously. 7 fingers squeeze together. 7 bullets strike Senator Baker. 1 through his brain, another pierces his heart. 4 more riddle his torso. He collapses instantly without final words. The only United States senator ever killed in combat falls into Virginia mud. October 21st claims its prize. News spreads like wildfire. Baker is dead. Our colonel fell. Panic replaces discipline. The carefully maintained formation dissolves into terrified mob. Officers shout orders. Nobody listens. 1,600 men suddenly remember those 4 small boats. 1,600 men simultaneously flee toward the bluff's edge. Colonel Eppa Hunton sees Union lines crumble. He orders fresh assault. The 17th Mississippi arrives perfectly timed. 800 rested soldiers hammer exhausted Yankees. The position collapses completely. Blue uniforms flood backward toward the cliff, toward the water, toward drowning. Picture the bluff's edge, 70 feet straight down. Soldiers sliding, falling, tumbling over each other. Rifles abandoned, dignity abandoned. Everything abandoned except animal survival instinct. Steep slopes become steeper with desperate men clawing downward. Leaves, slick with blood. Virginia claims its harvest. 4 boats cannot accommodate the flood. Soldiers pack them beyond capacity. Wood groans. Water pours over gunwales. Boats sink. Men drown. Others cling to overturned hulls swept downstream. Some attempt swimming. Heavy wool uniforms absorb water. Rifles pull swimmers under. The Potomac devours them. Confederates reach the bluff's edge. They fire down into chaos below. Target practice. Turkeys shoot. Some Yankees raise hands surrendering. Others plunge into water anyway. Death waits both directions. 500 prisoners taken. 223 killed. 226 wounded. Bodies float down river through darkness. Past Harrison's Island. Past Chain Bridge. Past Washington itself. Morning reveals corpses in blue uniforms drifting past waterfront properties. Some float far as Mount Vernon. Death visits George Washington's home wearing Union blue. The Capitol awakens to floating nightmares. President Lincoln stands at headquarters that evening. An aide enters carrying dispatches. Heavy losses at Ball's Bluff. Colonel Baker killed. Lincoln's face drains color. Witnesses report tears streaming down weathered cheeks. His friend, his son's namesake, gone forever. Retrieval parties come next day under white flags. Confederates permit Union burial details across. They find Baker's corpse where he fell. 7 bullet wounds. Empty eyes staring upward. They wrap their senator in canvas, carry him back across the river that murdered so many. I am Mary Todd Lincoln. They expect me to wear black at Baker's funeral. I wear lilac instead. Society gasps. Should I mourn every soldier killed? This war will devour thousands, tens of thousands. I will not drown in mourning clothes. Let them judge me. Baker's body travels by train to Philadelphia. Thousands line streets, then New York City. More crowds, more speeches. Finally, steamer Northern Light carries him to San Francisco. Even dead, Edward Baker tours America. Even dead, he draws crowds. Fame persists beyond life. General Charles Stone faces different journey. Newspapers demand explanations. Congress demands scapegoats. Stone commanded the operation. Stone sent Baker across. Stone must answer. Never mind McClellan's orders. Never mind Baker's decisions. Never mind Philbrick's errors. Someone pays for Ball's Bluff. Senator Zachariah Chandler reads casualty reports with fury. Another Union defeat. More dead soldiers. A senator killed. Intolerable. The administration is too timid. Generals too cautious or treasonous. Congress must investigate. Someone must demand accountability. Someone must wield power over military incompetence. I am Senator Benjamin Wade. Ball's Bluff proves Lincoln cannot control his generals. McClellan wastes time. Stone wastes lives. Baker wasted everything. We need oversight, congressional oversight. Military officers answer to civilian authority. I will create that authority. I will become that authority. December 9th, 1861. Congress debates new proposal. Joint Committee on the Conduct of the War. 7 members investigating military operations. Sweeping powers to subpoena witnesses. Authority to examine every decision. Wade chairs the committee. Bluff created this weapon. Wade wields it. The committee summons witnesses immediately. Who ordered reconnaissance? Who authorized reinforcements? Why were there insufficient boats? Why did Baker cross? Why did Stone permit it? Testimony fills thousands of pages. Truth drowns beneath political agendas. Bluff investigation becomes partisan warfare. General Stone becomes primary target. Summoned before hostile senators. Questioned relentlessly about every decision. His military judgment questioned. His loyalty questioned. Wade suspects Southern sympathies. Evidence, lost battles, tactical mistakes, insufficient boats. In this atmosphere, incompetence equals treason. Stone arrested February 9th, 1862. Imprisoned at Fort Lafayette, no charges filed, no trial held. 189 days in prison. The committee's power extends beyond law. Bluff destroys Stone's career completely. Baker died on the bluff. Stone dies professionally afterward. Captain Philbrick escapes consequences entirely. His false intelligence started everything. His inexperience transformed trees into tents, shadows into enemies. But Philbrick is nobody important. Politicians need prominent scapegoats. Philbrick disappears into war's chaos. Stone carries blame for another man's mistake. The committee expands its mission aggressively. Bull Run investigated. Peninsula Campaign investigated. Every Union defeat scrutinized. They interrogate McClellan. They interrogate Meade. They interrogate every general except Grant, who keeps winning and avoiding politics. Bluff becomes precedent for everything. Think about what this committee represents. Civilian control over military, accountability for failure, or political interference in strategy, partisan witch hunts, radical Republicans using defeat to advance agendas. Bluff's legacy encompasses both necessary oversight and dangerous overreach simultaneously. I am Wade. Professional officers despise me. West Point graduates resent civilian oversight. They call me interfering politician. I call them incompetent butchers. Bluff taught me that military leadership fails without political accountability. Someone must ask hard questions. I ask them. The committee champions controversial causes beyond investigation. They demand immediate emancipation. They advocate for black soldiers. They push aggressive warfare. Sometimes they prove right. Sometimes necessity and extremism align perfectly. Bluff taught them caution costs lives. They embrace opposite extreme. Committee procedures would horrify modern courts. Hearsay accepted freely. Constitutional protections ignored. Witnesses badgered mercilessly. Leading questions encouraged. Conclusions predetermined before testimony. Wade shapes evidence supporting political objectives. Bluff investigation establishes template for future questionable proceedings. Yet the committee uncovers real problems. Corrupt military contracts revealed. Substandard equipment documented. Medical care scandals exposed. Treatment of prisoners investigated. Southern atrocities publicized. They rally Northern opinion. They strengthen resolve. Bluff sparked flawed but occasionally useful oversight. The committee pressures Lincoln constantly. Appoint aggressive generals. Fire McClellan immediately. Advance faster. Fight harder. End slavery now. Lincoln navigates between committee demands and military reality. Bluff's political consequences complicate every strategic decision throughout war's duration. Support our channel. Subscribe so you won't miss exciting new videos. Your likes and comments inspire us to create more quality content. Together, we'll make this channel a place of knowledge and inspiration. Thank you for your support. Consider the irony. Bluff happened because politicians played soldier. Baker commanded through courage, not competence. The resulting committee amplifies political interference in military affairs. The cure mirrors the disease perfectly. Ball's Bluff teaches wrong lessons to people determined to learn something. Colonel Devens survives Ball's Bluff, survives committee investigation, continues serving throughout war, eventually becomes Attorney General. His career thrives while Stone's collapses. Ball's Bluff proves survival depends on political connections, not tactical decisions. Devens made identical mistakes but escaped blame. Confederate Colonel Evans celebrates his greatest triumph. Ball's Bluff establishes his reputation. He defeated superior numbers through better tactics and better luck. Yet Evans never achieves higher glory afterward. Ball's Bluff remains his masterpiece. One perfect day when everything worked for the Confederacy. The battlefield itself becomes sacred ground afterward. 54 Union soldiers buried there, only one identified by name. Ball's Bluff National Cemetery established, smallest national cemetery in America. The steep bluff still overlooks the Potomac. Trees grow where senators died. Memory persists. Years later, veterans return to Ball's Bluff reunions. Blue and gray together now. Old men remembering young terror. They walk the bluff. They trace desperate retreat. They forgive each other more easily than they forgive politicians who sent them. Ball's Bluff unites survivors. Historians debate Ball's Bluff endlessly afterward. Reconnaissance mission or unauthorized raid? Was Baker heroic or reckless? Was Stone scapegoat or incompetent? Did committee serve justice or partisanship? Every question generates conflicting answers. Ball's Bluff remains ambiguous when facts seem clear. The battle itself was militarily insignificant. Small. Numbers engaged. No strategic objectives achieved. Brief duration. Yet, Ball's Bluff changed Union war effort fundamentally. Created the committee, established oversight precedent, destroyed careers, killed a senator. Small battles sometimes generate enormous consequences accidentally. Ball's Bluff teaches lessons about hubris, about politicians in uniform, about false intelligence, about inadequate preparation, about panic, about consequences. Whether anyone learned these lessons remains questionable throughout war. Same mistakes repeat endlessly. Ball's Bluff predicts future disasters. Edward Baker's 3 sons join military service following father's example, seeking father's glory. 2 die in war. The Baker family sacrifices everything to Union cause. Does their sacrifice redeem the father's mistakes? Does courage compensate for incompetence? Ball's Bluff poses questions. I am a Ball's Bluff survivor. I remember scrambling down that cliff, bodies tumbling past me, men screaming, water rising, rifles pulling swimmers under. 50 years passed. I still hear screams. I still see bodies. Ball's Bluff never leaves you. Return to that October morning. Fog on the river, boats too few, men too many, orders too confused, leadership too confident. Everything that follows, rout, drowning, committee, investigations, springs from this moment. Ball's Bluff demonstrates how small decisions generate enormous consequences. The Joint Committee continues until May 1865, outlasting the war itself. Wade remains convinced civilian oversight was essential. Generals remain convinced political interference prolonged war. Both perspectives contain truth. Ball's Bluff created mechanisms simultaneously necessary and destructive. Remember Edward Baker's final words. Officers who die with their men will never be harshly judged. Was he right? History judges Baker harshly despite his death. Courage alone cannot redeem incompetence. Sacrifice alone cannot justify mistakes. Ball's Bluff proves this repeatedly. Lincoln visits Ball's Bluff battlefield in his mind repeatedly. His friend's death haunts him. Every casualty report echoes Baker's name. The president learns painful lessons. Friendship cannot determine appointments. Affection cannot replace competence. Ball's Bluff teaches Lincoln to become harder. Ball's Bluff fades from public memory while shaping public policy. Few Americans today know the battle's name. Even fewer know a senator died there. Yet, congressional oversight precedent persists through every subsequent American war. Ball's Bluff's legacy lives in forgotten mechanisms. The small boats rot eventually. The steep bluff erodes gradually. Bodies return to Earth. Witnesses die. Veterans die. Memories die. Only questions remain. What if Baker stayed in Senate? What if boats were sufficient? What if Philbrick recognized trees correctly? Unanswerable questions. Ball's Bluff represents the Civil War in miniature. Confusion, miscommunication, courage and cowardice intertwined, political and military objectives conflicting, individual decisions generating collective tragedy. Study Ball's Bluff carefully. You understand everything that follows. The war's pattern revealed in disaster. The committee's final report spans thousands of pages, testimony from hundreds of witnesses, investigations of dozens of battles, all traceable to Ball's Bluff, to Baker's death, to public outrage demanding accountability. One senator's death on Virginia riverbank changes democracy's warfare forever. Visit Ball's Bluff today. Stand on the bluff. Look down at the Potomac, 70 feet below. Imagine 1,600 men trying to escape down that slope. Imagine 4 small boats. Imagine panic. Imagine drowning. History speaks through landscapes if you listen. I am the Potomac River. I swallowed 200 men that October evening. Their bodies floated downstream, their blood mixed with my waters. I carry their memories still. I flow past Washington remembering everything. I never forget what happened at Ball's Bluff. October 21st, 1861. Remember this date. A reconnaissance becomes disaster. A senator becomes casualty. A defeat becomes catalyst. Ball's Bluff teaches eternal truths. Small mistakes kill. Political consequences outlive the soldiers. Memory fades, but precedent endures, shaping future conflicts. The battle ends. The consequences continue. Baker lies buried far from Virginia. Stone lives disgraced. Wade wields power. Lincoln mourns. The committee investigates. Soldiers remember. The river flows. Ball's Bluff never truly ends. It echoes through American history forever. Darkness falls over Ball's Bluff tonight. The Potomac flows black beneath steep cliffs. Wind whispers through trees where men died. Ghosts walk this ground, some say. Perhaps they do. Perhaps Ball's Bluff demands eternal witness. Perhaps some disasters must be remembered forever. Remember Ball's Bluff.